Good afternoon. My name is Tom. I come to you from the Rustic log cabin in Northern Maine. Welcome to my reloading room today. Get yourself a cup of coffee. If you started to watch this, we're on number 3 of a series on basic reloading. Hunting and reloading, how do they go together? Keep it simple, all of that. In the last video, we busted a couple of myths. So in this video, I want to actually start talking about cases and starting to reload. And I'm going to go over to the press, and we're going to start the first step in reloading. Now, the first thing because you've got a box of ammunition and you've gone and fired it at the range and all of that, and you picked up your brass, you saved all of your brass, and you brought it home. That's how I got my brass in the beginning. The same brass that I had back then, I'm still shooting to this day. So as far as brass wearing out, I don't throw any brass out until it shows some kind of damage. In this video, we're going to size the full case. We're going to use the full case dies for resizing the entire case, and then we're going to get into a separate video down the road on resizing just the neck and why. But now that brass and components are being a little bit more harder to get your hands onto, I have started just resizing the neck, and by doing that you save wear and tear on your case. But what you're looking for each time, now this case has already been through the tumbler, it's nice and clean, and as far as I'm concerned, it's ready to be started to work on. Now the first thing, you work in a good room with some light. You see I got some lights over my benches and over my reloading bench. You inspect the case, it's that simple. First thing you want to look, now these are 30-06, so I want to make sure that I'm reloading all 30-06 cases. So what you want to look for is on the very end of where the actual bullet would go in, look for cracks. It'll be a split, and every once in a while you'll see a case that's split on you. And if it's split up there, then get rid of it. Don't reload that one. What I do is I have a pair of pliers at my bench, and if I come up with a damaged one, I crush the end, and that way I know it never gets mixed in. Look for any splits down the case itself. I've never had a split down the case. What I have had on 30-30s is down here at the base. I've had the base separate from the case after a few reloads. I think it's soft cases. I don't think that they're the hard quality cases of these 30-06s, because I've never had any other case that I reload for split at the base other than 303 British and 30-30. So them are the only two guns that I have a couple of 303 British. I keep enough bullets on hand for them, but I don't go to the range and shoot them a lot for several reasons. That's one of them. So now you've looked at the case, there's no splits in it. It looks like a good case, so it's going to go into the pile. Now, you don't have to buy everything for your reloading room. This is a coffee container, and I don't know how many pieces of brass are in there, but these are the handiest things that you can have for your reloading room. One, it's got a nice lid on it, so it's I would say airtight. They keep coffee fresh. And the other thing is, as you like, these are all clean now. The primers are still in them. Now I want to tell you why I keep the primer in them at this point. I always clean my brass in the tumbler before I resize it. I also always leave the primer in place before I resize it. For two reasons. One is this is going to go through the tumbler. The inside's going to get filled with, I use corn cob, and I also use walnut. So little pieces of walnut is going to be inside. So if you pop out that primer and then you throw them through the tumbler, when you pull them out, sometimes there's little grains of walnut in the primer pocket, and sometimes even in the firing hole, because you're going to take it out, you're going to look at each one, and you'll see sometimes there's a piece of walnut down in the firing hole. So I don't take the primer out until right now. They're cleaned, they're ready to go. But one more thing, over at your press, we've talked about a shell holder. This is a shell holder. They run $5 or $6. You need one for each caliber bullet that you do. Well, not caliber bullet, but like the 30-06, I need one. Sometimes they'll fit the same bullet. Let's see, the 30-06, the 25-06, and the 22-250 all take the same bullet holder. So that's one of the reasons I like to stay with what I got for equipment, and you can do the same thing. But it's not really that much to buy a few of these. When you get them, if you have an RCBS one, they will come with a little chart. The Lee comes with a little chart. You can look up your bullet, or you can look up your gun, which mine's a 30-06, and then it'll tell you this one in the Lee would be a P2. I didn't dig out the RCBS one because I know which one it is. So I've got out the RCBS bullet holder for this, yeah, wrong one. I put it back in the pile by accident. I had it out here a minute ago. But anyways, I will get set up at the press, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we're sitting here at the bench. This is the single stage rock chucker RCBS. This is a die. I'll make sure. This is a die for the 30-06. We're going to screw this in. And what we're doing now, we're getting ready to resize this brass. Alright, this is case lube. As you know, I label everything I bring up into my gun room. This was purchased in 1988. I have a black Sharpie, and everything up here gets a date. It doesn't matter if it is powder or if it's a tool. I stock up. I think it's a lot like stocking up your woodshed and stocking up anything. You know, I like to know that I've got everything I need for these bullets. Now, a good habit to get into, this is a loading block. You can see they're all in there in the upright position. A good habit to get into, and habits in the reloading room are essential. Start out, whatever you want to start out with them all down. I'm starting out with all down. Once they've gone through the press, then they're all upside down. That way I know that all the cases are done, it's not a problem. And each time I do another step, then they get flipped over. So each time you come back to this box of bullets, you know exactly what's going on. Okay, now I got my oil on here. And what I like to do is just smooth it out just a little bit. This is a lubricating pad. They cost about $5 at Midway. So easy to get your hands onto. And then I lay 10 shells in here. I try to keep the necks out of the lubricating stuff. I'll put 10 of them over here. And then what we're going to do now is you can run the whole bunch. You don't press down. You just put your hand on top and just roll them. I know there's a lot of other things out there that can be used. I'm still old school on all of this. Alright, so now everything has been lubricated. Never ever ever put a case up into a full length sizing die that's not lubricated. It will get stuck and you'll probably damage the die to get it out, or you'll never be able to get it out at all, or you'll damage your press. So it's as simple as coming off there, pushing it in here, and push it all the way up, and then pull down. The case now has been resized, and the primer is pushed out of it. Now what I do in my lap right here, I won't do it for every time for you guys, make the video too long, but in my lap I am running just a crappy old t-shirt that made it into the rag barrel. And now, I've cleaned it, primer's out, so it's ready to go over there. Just to speed things up for you guys, so I don't want you to sit here and watch me wipe down cases. Any of you that think this is time consuming, this is one box of shells with the first step done. After this. Because putting the primers in is just as simple as pushing the primers out. You know, like I said the other night in one of the other videos, you can make 2 comfortably. You can make probably 4 boxes of ammo comfortably in an hour without rushing. Once you have your equipment set up and you're ready to rock and roll. This right here is an RCBS primer flipper. So what you do, the same thing, $4 or $5. This is a box of 100. I'm going to do 10 right now, so I'm going to show out 10. You put this thing upside down, and now you got 10 of them on the tray. Now what this thing does, you see how they're all upright? Say, let's say you got a couple that are not upright. Yeah. See, oh, now that we want them to flip. Okay, see, you got some that are not upright. Let me get this up where you can see it, I hope. You just jiggle it. You jiggle it, and now they're all upright where they belong. Now there's 2 schools of thought on this. This is this is a pocket cleaner, small and large. I'm in the camp where to me it takes no time at all to just skim that pocket out. So I go down through with my skimmer, I knock out the old stuff. Same thing, this thing right here, $7 or $8 at the most. All this stuff is in stock at Midway. And that's it. So you're cleaning out the pockets. Now I have a hand primer where I can load up 100 of these primers in there all at once. But because we're keeping this simple, and this will do it, I'm going to put these primers in on the RCBS press, because like I told you in the very first video, this is really all you need to get started. You need a press, you need a shell holder, and you need a way to put the primers in. The next video I will go into on these will be how to charge these with powder. So I'm guessing you can see. I'm hoping the lighting's good. You take a primer, you drop it in this pocket right here. It's on your press. You put a case in that's all cleaned and ready. Oh, you take this out. You got to take your resizing die out. At this stage you need nothing except for the press. Push the case all the way up. Push the case all the way up. Push your primer in as far as it'll go. Hold it there. Come down. It'll stop. There isn't no how far to push, how hard to push. You could push that. You could push that press right off the bench. Let it go up. Let this thing come out. I always guide it back. I don't like it spring loaded. I just want it to go easy. And then you lower it down. Take your case out. Primer's in. We'll put in another one. Make sure that your hands are clean at this point. Try not to handle the primers any more than you have to. But I have never had an issue with primers, ever. As far as not firing. What you want to look at it when it comes out. It wants to be just a little bit in from flush. You don't want it protruding out. If it is protruding out, stick it back in the press and push it again. You didn't push it in far enough. You want that primer just a little bit in from flush. Now what I do, like we said earlier, I do these in stages. I will come up here, this block holds 50 rounds. I don't do 50 because that's a box and a half. I like to do things by the box. So what I do is I'll put 40 cases in there, get them ready, and I do one stage at a time. Tonight, I will do my 40 cases to this point where they got primers installed, and then they're ready for powder, and they're ready to have a bullet installed on them. Nothing hard about any of this. If you can follow directions and pay attention to what you're doing, this is not dangerous. It's just filling bullets back up. Like I said, develop some good habits, you know, with how you do things, and then stick to that habit. You know, if you think it's dangerous and it feels dangerous, then it probably is. Don't do that. Okay, so there's 10 rounds. That's 10 rounds ready for powder. So have one more sip of coffee with me, and I will see you in the next video. And the next video will be charging powder and installing the bullet.